All right, welcome to Hannity. We have a lot breaking tonight. The president just excoriated the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi right to her face. In a closed-door meeting at the White House, he called her a third-rate politician. Of course, the president's right. Her party's deranged, psychotic, rage, obsessive, hate Trump agenda is all that matters in her world. But the speaker's sloppy execution, well, that leaves a lot to be desired. Today, we saw this all play out in real time. Pelosi and her colleagues are attending a meeting surrounding the administration's policy in Syria. And, well, they say a picture, well, speaks 1,000 words on Twitter. Well, the president called this nervous Nancy's unhinged meltdown. Looks like she's pointing at him. At the very same time, that photo was taken. The House voted for a measure spearheaded by Pelosi, rebuking the president's withdrawal of American troops from Syria. Some Republicans even supported the measure. Here's what these lawmakers need to keep in mind. President Trump, well, he promised to beat the living out of the so-called ISIS caliphate. Not so-called, it was a caliphate. He removed Obama's insane, ridiculous, democratic rules of engagement that put handcuffs on our troops. And guess what? He bombed the living daylights and beat back the entire caliphate in Syria of ISIS. That's a promise he made and a promise he kept. And President Trump also promised to get the United States out of all foreign conflicts. We can't have endless wars. He ran on this. He got support for this. In Syria, when weapons of mass destruction were used, he didn't draw any meaningless line in the sand like Obama. No, he actually acted. Another promise made, another promise kept. And look at this new poll. A majority of even Republicans do support the president's decision to withdraw troops. America's wars are no longer fought to be won. Instead, eventually they all get politicized right back here at home. Dangerous restrictions are placed on how our brave men and women, our national treasure, our soldiers operate. And then disaster ensues. Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan. You start the fight, you politicize the fight, then we don't fight anymore. Our national treasure dies, they lose their limbs, they come home disfigured, and we even abandon them with the VA scandal under the Obama-Biden administrations. Now, instead of endlessly putting brave men and women in harm's way, the president, well, he is sanctioning Turkey for their aggressive action in the region. It had a huge impact on Iran. And tonight, Republicans, you need to keep something in mind here. Pelosi and her liberal friends, they don't care about what happens in the Middle East at all. And how do we know that? They're the ones that help start the wars, and then when the going gets tough, they're the first people to politicize them and put handcuffs on our troops and ridiculous rules of engagement. During war, we're supposed to win it. Now, we're supposed to believe they're hawks? Really? On top of that, we also know this. Democrats are only reacting with rage because they are completely preoccupied with just smearing Trump, bludgeoning Trump. So Pelosi's radical extreme socialist supervisors in the Democratic Party, the squad, they're demanding that this duly elected president of the United States be thrown out of office. She wants to keep her job. She's doing what they say. And without a doubt, the left hates Trump more than anything. They have now convinced themselves he is Satan incarnate, and they'll do anything and say anything to destroy the president, even act like they are really hawks on defense, just to ruin his agenda no matter what. By the way, this is why we need the next generation of weaponry, so we don't do this to America's treasure ever again. I want any future conflicts to be fought in the air-conditioned offices in Tampa, where buttons are pushed and the enemy dies. Offensive weapons and defensive weapons. So we don't have to send kids door to door to get their legs blown up again and not give them up-armored Humvees and then treat them like crap when they come home with lifelong injuries. Now, this president cured cancer. They would hold an investigation into how he did it the wrong way, or would impeach him for the issue of curing cancer. This is how sick, ugly, twisted it has now gotten. And it's a complete and total waste of our time. Now, remember, breaking last night, Pelosi announced that there will be no formal roll call on impeachment. They don't have the votes. And that's because there are enough Democrats in these swing districts, we keep scrolling the names, and they know that impeachment is the end of their political careers come 2020, November. And by the way, they also know it's a manufactured scandal. And they know for them it's political suicide. Pay close attention. Maybe that person is in your district. They don't want to go on the record as an official anti-Trump conspiracy theorist in a district that voted for Donald Trump. And look at this, a brand new focus group featuring voters from the great swing state of Ohio showing just how unpopular this impeachment hoax really is. 9 of 11 participants raised their hands to say impeachment is a distraction from the issues they care the most about. So now Pelosi's sloppy strategy is hitting a speed bump. Her top deputy, the cowardly, shifty Adam Schiff, well, he's holding closed-door meetings, secret meetings. I thought they wanted transparency. Didn't they want the unredacted version of the Mueller report? Oh, no due process for the president whatsoever. And by the way, the cowardly Schiff expects us to believe that an official impeachment proceeding is underway. By the way, as House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy pointed out, several basic constitutional rights are being denied during this impeachment sham. The following questions have yet to be answered. And by the way, all things Newt Gingrich gave the Democrats when the Republicans were in control of the House, and real impeachment was going on with Bill Clinton because the independent counsel saw 11 felonies in Bill Clinton's conduct and identified them. Now, Speaker Pelosi, do you intend to grant co-equal subpoena power to the chair and the ranking member at the committee level? Do you intend to require all subpoenas to be subject to a vote of the full committee at the request of either the chair or the ranking member? Do you intend to provide the president's counsel the right to attend all hearings and all depositions? Do you intend to provide the president's counsel the right to present evidence? Do you intend to provide the president's counsel the right to object to the admittance of evidence? Do you intend to provide the president's counsel the right to recommend a witness list? And finally, do you intend to refer all of this to Jerry Nadler and his committee? He's the chairman of the Judiciary Committee. That's actually prescribed by the rules of the House. Or is the cowardly Schiff in charge of leading this inquiry, as has been reported in the press? Every other impeachment proceeding, historically, has followed these simple, basic, fundamental rules of fairness and justice. Speaker Gingrich afforded those rights to President Clinton and the Democratic minority. But today, the Speaker won't even hold an official vote. As constitutional law professor Jonathan Turley put it, quote, Pelosi seems to believe that she can hold a press conference and expect courts to accept that a formal impeachment process has begun. Well, some judges are likely to be uncomfortable with such a immaculate impeachment. Very creative. Our own Greg Jarrett, he called it a venomous affront to constitutional principles. And breaking tonight, one of those closed-door hearings, the secret kind, by the people that demanded transparency of the Mueller report, well, Schiff pressured a key witness to lie. Look at this brand new report from the Washington Examiner. When American diplomat Kurt Volker repeatedly refused to agree with Schiff's phony quid pro quo allegations, Schiff said, quote, Ambassador, you're making this much more complicated than it has to be. I guess he wasn't getting the answer he had hoped for. And now get this, the lying, cowardly Schiff, well, he doesn't even want his fake whistleblower to testify. Now, he's rightfully, likely concerned that the non-whistleblower would be forced to answer questions about, their connection to Schiff's office and the advice that they were given by Schiff's office to get an attorney and go to the inspector general. And by the way, the whistleblowers work for sleepy, creepy, crazy Uncle Joe Biden, and how this was essentially from the get-go a Democratic-led setup from the beginning. Wow, we've read that book before, too. And at least one prominent Democrat is now calling for this whistleblower to testify. Looks like the radically left's attempt, the latest scheme to boot the president out of office, once again boomeranging, coming apart at the seams.